It was a dark and stormy night when I first laid eyes on Willow House, an imposing mansion perched on a hill overlooking the small, sleepy town of Millington. The house had long been abandoned, its windows shattered, and its once elegant facade crumbling with age. Locals whispered of its dark history, of the tragic events that had unfolded within its walls, and the restless spirits said to haunt it. As a paranormal investigator with a penchant for uncovering the truth behind ghostly legends, Willow House was a tantalizing mystery that I couldn't resist. Armed with my equipment and a burning curiosity, I set out to spend the night within its eerie confines. The wind howled as I approached the decaying mansion, its mournful wail adding an extra layer of foreboding to the night. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and lightning illuminated the house in stark, ghostly flashes. I couldn't help but feel a shiver of unease as I crossed the threshold. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of decay and dampness. My flashlight cast long, wavering shadows on the cracked and peeling wallpaper as I made my way through the darkened hallways. It was clear that no one had set foot in this place for years. I began my investigation in the grand foyer, setting up my equipment and preparing to communicate with any spirits that might reside within the house. As the night wore on, I asked questions and waited for responses, my heart pounding in my chest. At first, there was nothing but silence, broken only by the occasional creaking of the old house settling. But then, as I called out into the darkness, a faint whisper brushed against my ear, a soft, mournful voice that sent shivers down my spine. "Help me," it pleaded, the words barely audible. I couldn't see anything in the darkness, but I knew that I was not alone. I continued to speak, to ask questions, and the voice grew stronger, more insistent. The spirit identified herself as Eliza, a young woman who had lived in Willow House in the late 1800s. She told me of a tragic love affair that had ended in betrayal and heartbreak, of a life cut short by despair and loneliness. As I listened to her story, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of empathy for this lost soul. Eliza's spirit seemed trapped within the house, unable to move on until her tragic tale was told. I continued to communicate with Eliza throughout the night, recording her responses and promising to help her find peace. But as the hours passed, the atmosphere within the house grew increasingly oppressive, and I could sense a malevolent presence lurking in the shadows. I felt a sudden coldness in the air, and the temperature dropped dramatically. My breath came out in visible puffs as I continued to speak with Eliza, but the voice that responded was no longer hers, it was something darker, something twisted. "Leave this place," it hissed, the words dripping with venom. I knew then that I was not alone with Eliza's spirit. There was something else in the house, something malevolent and angry. I tried to continue communicating with Eliza, to help her find peace, but the dark presence grew stronger, its anger palpable. As I stood in the darkened hallway, I felt a sudden, sharp pain in my chest. I gasped for breath, my heart pounding wildly, and I knew that I was in danger. The malevolent force within the house was attacking me, trying to drive me away. But I refused to leave. I couldn't abandon Eliza, not when she was so close to finding peace. I fought through the pain, continuing to speak with her, to offer her comfort and support. As the night wore on, the dark presence grew more desperate, its attacks more vicious. It tried to push me down the stairs, to strangle me with unseen hands, but I refused to give in. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the malevolent presence withdrew, leaving me gasping for breath and shaken to my core. I knew that I had won, that I had helped Eliza find the peace she so desperately sought. As the first light of dawn began to filter through the shattered windows of Willow House, I felt a sense of accomplishment and closure. Eliza's spirit had finally found peace, and the malevolent force that had plagued the house had been vanquished. I left Willow House that morning, knowing that I had uncovered the truth behind its haunting and helped a lost soul find solace. The house would forever be a place of dark history and tragedy, but it was a history that could now be put to rest. And as I walked away from the decaying mansion, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to help a spirit find peace, and for the knowledge that the darkness could be vanquished, even in the most haunted of places.